school seniors right now, they're prepping for the SAT and the ACT testing, along with visiting colleges that they're interested in. So, big question, how do you help your child find the right college with the right fit? Here now with some expert advice is CEO of Hamilton Education, Mr. Chris Hamilton. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Thanks for coming in, because I was just telling you I did this with my daughter a couple years ago, and not just because it's a good school doesn't mean it's a good school for my kid. How do you figure that out in this process?
Well, one way is to visit, and that's a great place to start. I try to let kids and families know a visit's kind of like a first date, though, on college. They're trying to make a great impression, and you want to be aware. Some of the things they say, they may not be strictly true. I'm a huge UCLA fan, but on a visit they said class sizes were like 30-to-1. That's not quite right. Their math is a little off. So they're trying to impress you, and you eventually learn they all look like Hogwarts. They all have sushi in the dining room. They all have a climbing wall. Another thing that's fun but also awkward about visits, you don't have to visit every single college that you're thinking about. Some of them are far away and it's very expensive. You kind of want to figure out, do they want you to visit? Will they even keep track of whether you visited? Some colleges will and some won't. And so if you look at the app and you see a question that says, do you want to come here? Why do you want to come here? What makes you love this college? They're almost certainly keeping track of demonstrated interest. Did you visit? And you'll notice the UCs don't. So you can visit them to see if you like them, but they're not aware that you visited them. And Harvard and Stanford, for some reason, don't really care that you visited, because
everybody likes
Harvard, they kind of assume you like them. In fact, the first date thing makes sense, because the questions on the SUP that deal with the visits are kind of like, why do you like us? Like, why are you interested in us? And it's a little bit like when a human asks you that. You've got to give them a good reason. So a good college visit is probably more like recon for the application than just, do I like the architecture? Then
what should you be looking at as you're walking around campus? And to follow that question up, should you go on a weekday or weekend?
Well, weekends are super convenient, but there's no undergrad students on the campus. So I strongly recommend go when there are other students, and don't just listen to the words of the usually well-trained and charming presenter. Look at the students around. Do they look happy? Are they excited to be there? And if you can, get a visit into a classroom. If you can sit in on a classroom, not only do you see what the vibe and energy is like, but when these colleges ask you, why do you want to come here? You can say, well, on my visit, when I sat in on a class, I asked a question, I talked to the professor. You look like a superstar. I mean, you got to remember, for selective colleges, you're not a consumer picking out the one you want, your heart's desire. You're not even an applicant. You're like a supplicant.
Mm-hmm.
You got well, a little bit, but they might not let you have what you want in the window. So the visit can help you prove that I'm a good fit, that I can see myself here, and so that's at least something to keep in mind.
Some great information. Don't visit too many. Show some vested interest, and go during the week, because that's when you're going to get a more honest answer.
Well, and I think it's like a rom-com now that I think about it, because you may not fall in love with the one you think you will.
Oh, very interesting.
So first day, rom-com.
All right. Great advice. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
You made it seem so simple.